Okay, basically the objects are objectives that are espoused in an act that speaks to what the act is to provide. And in this particular act, we have the first object is to provide for the right to access information and also the limitations that go with it. Secondly, it is to provide the procedures for processing requests for information. People would, requesters would give requests, but then there must be procedures of how those requests are processed. But also, it's to give effect to the right to access information, because then without the objects there's no effect that you would say that now we have started, it is in effect, or it is effective that we begin to give information and requesters are requesting information. But the last one is also to um, uh, talk about the incidentals or anything related to the access to information. On the third one, that talks about the giving effect to the procedures. It's basically speaking to the other documents to which Zambia is a party. The first one is the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. That one also speaks to matters of access to information. But also the next one is actually the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. So those are the issues that speak to the objects of the Act number 23 or number 24 of 2023. Well, guidelines are quite important in the sense that for the act to get its life, for the act to begin to be seen to be alive, guidelines are very imperative. You can't do without guidelines. So basically, the guidelines help the implementation of the Access to Information Act by providing guidance regarding the understanding of the persons who are supposed to get the information or access information, but also who is the information holder. The guidelines actually stipulates who that is, but also it talks about obligations of the information holder or an information holder. But it also brings to the fore the rights of persons under the Act. It also speaks to the issue of persons who are eligible to make requests in terms of information and the manner or method that the information is supposed to be given or is requested, but also limitations to accessing information. It also speaks to the appeals in the event that a requester has an appeal against the information holder, that is to the Human Rights Commission, because the commission is the one that is mandated to superintend over the Access to Information Act, or the right to access information, but also speaking to the issues and matters incidental to the foregoing. Well, if you look at what the Act espouses with regards to the information holder or the public body or a private body, first of all, in terms of the public body, the Act makes reference to the Public Finance Management Act, because the Public Finance Management Act number 1 of 2018 explains what the public body is. And in espousing what a public body is, the Public Finance Management Act says that this is a body which provides which is a public body and by government, but also any ministry or any department of government, the National Assembly, the Judicature, which is a judiciary, a local authority, parastatals, commissions, or any body that is appointed by government. Safe to say that professional associations may not be part of the public bodies. But also, I think in summing it up, it says that all public institutions that hold information for the purposes of the Access to Information Act will actually be information holders and public bodies in that respect. Well, a private entity becomes an information holder in the where the Act espouses this, and the Act defines a public or a private body, as a private entity or non-state actor that utilizes public funds and also may be in possession of information that is of significant public interest. So it's about utilization of public funds, but also about holding information that is sufficiently or significantly of public interest. So then it becomes an information holder. Entities, for example, that are incorporated under the Companies Act number 10 of 2017 also have are also connoted to be private bodies, but they are public. In terms of information holders, they become information holders. So that is basically that. In a private institution where there's public interest, there's government interest, there's also shareholding by government, becomes an information holder that a requester can make a request to for information. Well, basically, the information officer is an officer appointed by an information holder. So an information holder appoints who their information officer is, and their primary responsibility or duty is to ensure that they are responsible to process requests that are made for information by a requester, and just render assistance to the requester for information requested. Well, information can be accessed in terms of what the law provides or espouses, is that a person that can make a request or a requester in this form should be a citizen of the Republic of Zambia or any resident permit holder. So if you are a resident permit holder, you are not a citizen per se. You are the law allows you, gives you leverage or leeway to request for information, or if you are a citizen. And a citizen is basically one that possesses a national registration card, that is a green national registration card. So it's only a citizen and a resident permit holder.
Okay.
And they don't need, by the way, to give any reason. Even if they give reasons, the reasons that they give for them to access information should not in any way have an effect on them accessing that information from the information holder. I think maybe I need to also be very clear on the timelines, because this is quite critical. First of all, the requester has a right to receive information in an accessible format from the requester, from the information holder, within the 7 days of applying for or requesting information. There are no fees per se attached to accessing information, save for the situations where one needs duplicates, or one needs to make photocopies, or translation, and also transcribing. That requires, because then that is too much information, and the information holder may not be in the position to have the resources to do that, and the requester is asked to make that fee. But at the initial stage, where it's just simple information, I don't think there's any need for, according to the law, that is, there's no need for any fee per se. Again, also maybe very important qualifications here, where a requester is unable to read, or they are unable to listen to the information that they are given because of disability issues. The information holder must take steps to ensure that they make available to the requester who has a disability to receive the information in the format that they can receive. For example, if it is Braille, they must be able to provide that information in Braille. But remember, again, where there's need for a cost regarding Braille, the requester will be able to be made aware that there's this fee that is attached to this particular issue. Section 8 of the Access to Information Act, which is basically the proactive disclosure, was actually came into being just at the promulgation of the commencement order. So all public bodies and private bodies that I did explain use public funds, but also have sufficient information that is deemed of public interest, must ensure that they proactively produce information to the citizens of the Republic. But then, in terms of updating the information, according to the law, it's actually biannual. So biannually, the information holder or the institutions must be able to update their information and report to the Human Rights Commission. Well, for non-compliant information holders or institutions, the penalties are actually severe, which for me, in my case, I would really encourage information holders to be strict with this particular section, because then we actually have the 2 years is almost lapsing, because it lapses in June 2026. That is following the commencement order that was issued 2 years ago. So it's a window of 2 years for proactive disclosure of information, and the consequences are quite severe. You may not want to get into that bracket or that realm, because then I think you will be deemed to be somebody or an information holder that is not progressive and not having the developmental agenda of the country behind your back. Well, a request can be submitted either orally or in written. Now, there's a format in which the request is made. If you look at section 40 of the Act, it provides for the format, but also in the schedule there's a form that is provided that one has to sign in or to complete for them to be able to make their information request formally. So in the event that a person, a citizen or a permanent resident holder requests for information from this information holder orally, they will speak orally, then the information holder has the duty to take down, to put down that information that is being given orally into that form, so that it is made formal. So there are two modes. You can either orally do it, or you can, if you are able to complete the form, you complete, and that's a methodology that is given for access to information in terms of requests to be made.